Hey everyone! I'm a little late to the party on this one with Final Fantasy Resonance, but I thought it'd be a good time to have a look, review, and give my thoughts on Final Fantasy Resonance as a whole, because I know it will be based on Brave Exvius, but also just a kind of a little thoughts I have on this in particular in regard to Final Fantasy as a whole and something else as well. But what we're going to do first is I'm going to we're going to have the whole video play out first. Then I'm going to have a look at just the bits that I really want to see or concerned about, and then we'll get into my thoughts later on afterwards as well. So for now, let's watch the video.
The first Final Fantasy in HD 2D.
Really?
Final Fantasy returns to its roots with cinematic pixel art in a classic tale of crystals with a new twist. Final Fantasy Resonance.
I am loving a lot of how it looks, I will say.
A mysterious warrior driven by revenge and shrouded in darkness seeks to shatter the 8 crystals that sustain this world. As a knight of the realm, you set out on a journey to protect the crystals. Encounter allies bound by a shared fate.
Okay, I kind of like the portrait art.
Explore fantastic lands. And overcome countless perils along the way.
I want to know about the gacha
secrets
characters.
Of the past, as you discover the truth of this world. Summon new strength from outside and within. Final Fantasy Resonance, coming October 22nd, 2026.
Okay, that was... Oh, here we go.
Heroes resonate across worlds.
Because from the screenshot I saw, I was kind of wondering how this worked. Okay, that's one of my worries kind of gone. Okay. So, based on that, there was a couple of things I saw that I did actually like the look of. So, first of all, where was it? I do like the from what I can see, the graphics, and it looks like they're putting. I know that this is, what was it? It's its own. It's kind of like a remake of the Brave Exvius. I think they used everything from Brave Exvius to make a standalone game, which I'm very, very curious to see how it will go. I do really like the portrait arts. I actually do think they're quite nice. And it looks like we were able to explore towns before, but it looks much more actual exploration rather than just click here, click here, click here, click here, which is nice. The stagger thing has me quite curious. I do like how it looks like there's even more story emphasis. I'm not gonna lie, when I played Brave Exvius, I kind of got a bit bored a bit of the way in and started like skipping scenes. I just like let me get back to exploring and the fighting and pulling the gacha. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so I really do like. I think this is like the first part. I think it only goes up to a certain point in the Brave Exvius story. Now, this one I'm actually really happy to see, because it does mean that a number of the characters, that they've already got all the assets and animations and everything, So I'm kind of glad to see that they haven't been discarded. They are fully in the game and everything. So it honestly does look quite good. I'm also kind of happy it'll be on Steam. I didn't mind. The voice acting sounded good from what it sounded, or at least, you know, it didn't sound bad. It didn't sound bad. That is one thing I actually really did like. Also, the little bit here is just, yeah, it looks so good. I don't remember if this was actually in originally Brave Exvius, some of those scenes, but they look so smooth, especially for sprite artwork, sprite work and such like that. It does look really, really good. My thoughts on this. I want this to succeed. I want this game to succeed. And I want it to succeed for 3 reasons. So the first one is that if this succeeds, maybe Square Enix will take a step back from doing like these huge decade waiting to arrive games, and they'll go back to doing these where it's like maybe every couple to a few years they'll release a game. I would actually be really happy with that. And also, I like the sprite work. I think they could do a fair amount with this. But I really want them because I remember reading about this before, and it was basically they were trying to get young people into Final Fantasy, which is why they're doing all these decisions and everything with the later Final Fantasy games and everything, or the current model ones. And I remember someone talking about it, is that before, there was a Final Fantasy almost every year to every couple years sort of thing. So people who grew up with Final Fantasy, they would have multiple games and stories and characters and everything to look back on. But nowadays, it's like, it might be like you'd have one game in a person's childhood, 2, depending on timing and if you're lucky and everything, but growing up. And that, it makes it hard, I think, for some people to stay, and as much as I don't like their current practices, that is one thing I want to say Nintendo is still doing fairly well, and it is the fact that they still release games. Pokemon is a prime example. They are releasing game after game after game every 1 to 2 years, and it's why a number of the younger audiences is following, is, you know, carrying on with Pokemon as it goes on. Now, I feel like Final Fantasy needs to make either a decision. They either need to take a step back and do a few, you know, this like less big budget movie realism games and everything, or they keep doing stuff like this. They either make it more accessible, and by that I mean, sorry, maybe not more accessible, more less long of a wait for games. That's the kind of thing. Or they try and make it more for the adults that grew up with Final Fantasy. It's either, you can't please both sides, try and pick your battles, basically. The second thing, why I want this to win, the second reason, is because I feel it would hopefully make them branch out a bit more. You know, we have some spin-offs and everything, and I'd love it if, I don't know, maybe stuff like this gets a bit of notoriety to basically say to Square Enix, hey, this is working, go back to stuff that seemingly seemed to work. For example, they did turn-based really well, and other people still love turn-based, and they've made turn-based different. As much as I do kind of like the real-time action combat. Sorry, I'm trying to think the words as I'm doing this. I do not do a script, sorry. As much as I like some of the real-time action, there is... I feel there is a little bit of in how it's produced sometimes. Final Fantasy 15, as a prime example, I feel that the final battle with Ardyn just went... yeah, it didn't really go. It was basically a rail shooter or just mashing a button sort of thing. But yeah, the third reason. Now, this isn't to do with Square Enix in particular. This is to do with what I hope it would send a green flag out to the game industry as a whole. and I don't know if anyone remembers, there was a Mega Man gacha game, Mega Man X Dive. They turned that into an offline single-player game where you get the shards of the characters, you can literally just buy them, and then you get to play as the characters and everything. And I thought that was a really, really good idea, because it's essentially the gacha game has had an end of life, but they've turned it into a single-player game, and everyone can still enjoy it. And they get to play characters they missed out on. They get to, I don't know, just try wacky combinations they couldn't because, you know, gacha luck and everything. And I really wanted to send a message to say, hey, turn your gacha games that have been successful and now end of life into a final product. You get a bit more money from having all this assets and everything, and everybody who enjoyed the games can then play them again in their own time. Less, I'm not gonna lie, less annoying gacha gimmicks or mechanics and everything. And I just feel like I want that to be a green flag to basically say, hey, turn your gacha game, if it was successful, into a single player game. That's really what I'm going to say, because a number of them, or a few of them, I will gladly buy if they turn into single player games. Because I just feel that would be a way for me to enjoy it in my own pace, and I'd get to play exactly the characters I want, even if I have to wait a little bit. I still think it would be a good idea. I want that to be the message they send out to game industry as a whole. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me as I kind of ramble and kind of review this Final Fantasy Resonance trailer. I hope you all have a wonderful day. By the way, please be sure to like and subscribe as well. And all that YouTuber blaggedy blah blah blah. Oh my word. But yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!